I'm noticing, is there a reason why the financial report is not added to the agenda tonight to give us an update on where we are with the budget? I'm noticing, is there a reason why the financial report is not added to the agenda? Usually, Ms. Edwards gives us an update on where we are with.
I present the monthly financial report the second meeting of every month.
Okay, but is there any reason why we're not giving any kind of update on the budget or where we are with the budget process at this time? Because we're here in the middle of it and in the throes of it. Or are you going to give us any kind of update? Could you do that for us, Mr. Phillips, when you give us your comments tonight?
On the budget, yes, I can do that.
Could you do that? Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, could we get a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I, Broadnax Taylor.
Okay, motion is carried. All right, now our conflict of interest statement.
In accordance with the rules and procedures adopted by this board in section 153A44 of the North Carolina General Statute, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board unless there is a conflict of interest or is determined by law. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with respect to any agenda item coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict and the board will consider the matter. No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict, Broadnax Taylor.
No conflict. Okay, we'll now have our citizens' comments.
Yes, citizens, if you've signed up to speak, when you're recognized, please approach the podium. When you're called, your comments will be limited to 5 minutes maximum. The chair will cut off all speakers exceeding their allotted time. If you have any questions of the board, you'll receive a response from the board or county staff. The board will not respond or otherwise engage in a dialogue with you during your allotted time. And pursuant to North Carolina law, this time is allotted on the agenda for the purpose of allowing public commentary on county business. This is not an open forum to be publicly critical of the performance of any county commissioner or county employee, and the chair will maintain the order and decorum of the meeting. Mayor Deborah James.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
First of all, let me thank the board, county manager, and all the different agents that has come to Gaston and helped us with different projects. On behalf of the town of Gaston, we would like to express our sincere appreciation for an outstanding job. I'm sending this to Jason with the planning and zoning director. He has done an awesome job by assisting us throughout our project. The town of Gaston was awarded a grant money to remodel the old EMS building into a community center. We are so excited that the work is about to start. Thank you, Jason, and your team. His knowledge, professional, and willing to guide us through the necessary steps have been truly valuable. The information and the direction he provided has helped us better understand what is needed to keep the project moving smoothly and in compliance with our requirements. We are grateful for his continued support and for the dedication he has shown us in serving our community. His assistance make a meaningful difference in the progress and success of our work. Thank you again. Thanks for all your hard work and commitment and excellent service, the town of Gaston. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Ruby Vincent Garner.
To our county commissioners, Chairman Martin, Broadnax Taylor, Keith Edwards, Kevin Edwards, county officials, and citizens, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ruby Vincent Gahn, and I reside in the Lake Gaston community on River Road, Highway 46. I would like to express my appreciation to the Northampton County Commissioners to say thank you for your presence and support of the Old Gaston Rosenwald School Historic Marker Dedication Black History Program on the 21st of February 2026 at the Lake Gaston Community Center. Your attendance, specifically to Commissioner Martin and Dr. Edwards and Ed Martin, your presence provided vital recognition of this landmark legacy. As Commissioner Martin noted during the ceremony, the project represents how a community can all work together and honor history and support education. Commissioner Whitaker, thank you for your regrets. Sorry you could not be there. Just want to say thank you all for coming. May God bless you.
Thank you, and it was a very enjoyable event. I was glad to be present. Any others?
Cassandra Person.
To the chairman, commissioners, and members of the public, good evening, first of all. Thank you for allowing me this few minutes to speak. I am Cassandra Person, the founder and executive director of Sisters Haven Incorporated. I am here to actually submit a request for the approval of to bring Sisters Haven to the county. Sisters Haven was created to meet a critical need in Northampton County: safe, structured, and supportive housing for women experiencing homelessness, crises, or reentry challenges. Our program is a 2-year structured pathway designed to help women stabilize, gain independence, and rebuild their lives with dignity and accountability. Many of the women we serve are from the county and simply need a safe environment and consistent support to move forward. The modular, I am proposing modular dormitory units are commercially engineered, code compliant structures originally designed for FEMA disaster housing. They are well suited for independent living and they meet the requirements for R2 occupancy. Each unit is ADA accessibility, a fire alarm system and smoke detectors in each unit. There will be no smoking or cooking permitted inside the units, and it's permanent installation with correct footing and brick-in foundation. These units will be fully upgraded, permitted, and inspected under North Carolina Commercial Building Code, the Fire Code, and ADA accessibility standards. They will not be used as temporary shelters or informal housing. They will be safe, regulated, and appropriated for women we serve. All of this information engineers details, code compliance, safety features, and program structure has been presented to Mr. Jason McAllister in zoning and planning. Despite proving by complete documentation and demonstrating compliance, my request has been denied on several occasions. This is especially concerning because in 2023, I was approved on the same acreage that we have for modular, a 5-bedroom modular home and duplexes in the rear. However, I have consistently been denied by zoning and planning. Sisters Haven is not privately funded. We do rely on grants, partnership, and commitment support. Because of this, we must follow a process that allows us to access the funding streams necessary to operate a compliant, sustainable program. Continued zoning deniers place the entire project and the women who need the services at risk. For this reason, if zoning continues to deny our application, we are formally requesting that the Board of Commissioners allow Sisters Haven to apply for and be considered for a special use permit. This would give the county the opportunity to evaluate the project based on its merits, its compliance, and community impact, rather than limiting it to a narrow zoning interpretation. Sisters Haven is committed to transparency, safety, and full compliance with the county and the state requirement. We are simply asking for the opportunity to move forward with a project that will strengthen this county. It will reduce homelessness, support reentry efforts, and provide a stable foundation for women who are working hard to rebuild their lives. Thank you for your time, your consideration, your commitment to a well-being of our community. Sisters Haven stands ready to partner with Northampton County to create a lasting positive change for women who serve for the county as a whole. Respectfully yours. Thank you. Cassandra Person. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will look into what processes are involved.
Theodore Ruffin Jr.
Good evening. My name is Theodore Ruffin Jr. I'm the owner of Shell Builders Asset Management Incorporation that's actually working with Ms. Person. I also do some partnership with Philip Moncure out of Moncure Homes in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. I'm from Virginia, so things are a little bit different for me. I'm kind of learning. I have a couple other projects that I'm working with, I guess, some people in your county. I'm trying to bring affordable housing, living, you know, in your community. And just want to make it known, if you have any questions for me in the future, you can get in touch with me. Like I said, Shell Builder Asset Management, 757-936-0521. If you have any questions about the way that they are built or anything like that, we have, I think she said she sent the board members like the plans and specs of everything. If you have any questions, definitely feel free, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. The next item is the updated information on police coverage for Seaboard and Gaston.
Good evening.
Just pass out.
I want the East Commission, the Seaboard, and Gaston to each comparison of the stats. 2025 and 2026.
Multiple copy of the same thing. Did you get one? Seaboard. Okay, these are Seaboard. These are okay. Okay, these are all gas. Yeah, did you get a Seaboard? Okay. Need the Seaboard ones back. Okay, that's a Seaboard one. Okay. Okay.
All right.
We got 'em?
So yeah, I just want to give that to you all so y'all can kind of read along and have a better understanding when the stats are being read out for comparison purpose for 2025 and 2026, knowing that the commissioners and the county manager, everybody work together to get these projects approved as far as the special assignment coverage for the town of Gaston and town of Seaboard. So first off, I'll start off with Gaston, showing you the stats for 2025 and 2026. So as you can see in 2025, for the months coverage, this was before the overtime or special assignment was approved. We had a total of 31 calls, and Gaston responded by the sheriff's office. and that included 6 domestic disturbance calls, 2 crowd disturbance, 4 disputes, 3 fight calls, 1 shots fired, 1 brandishing a firearm, 1 alarm call, 1 child neglect, 1 assault with a deadly weapon or shooting, and 2 loud music calls and 3 stolen property. So it was a total of 31 calls during that time frame. So if you compare that to 2026 so far, from January to March 2026, we've responded to 5 calls total. So that's a significant drop. And it was a total of 1 shots fired call, 1 brandishing a firearm call, and 1 suspicious vehicle call, 1 4-wheeler complaint, and 1 unauthorized use. So just from the look at domestic disturbance calls, which is one of the most dangerous calls officers can respond to. Not the only one, but one of the most dangerous. Like you said, in 2025 for those months it was 6, and so far in 2026 it's been 0 for Gaston. And same thing with disputes, you're looking at 4 in 2025, and so far in 2026 is 0 in Gaston. Fight calls you had 3. And in 2025 and so far in 2026, it's been 0. So just give you a little idea of how these assignment is helping out a lot in the communities. So if you look at Seaboard for 2025 and 2026, from August to December 2025, the Sheriff's Office responded to 19 calls total. And so far in 2026, from January to March, we responded to a total of 11. So that one kind of still a little high, because we're going to try to work on some other efforts to try to get that down. So that's a little higher than what we wanted to be in Seaboard so far for 2026. But the most thing that stands out the most to me for 2025 to 2026, as you can see, as far as shots fired calls in Seaboard that we responded to in 2025 was 8. And so far in 2026, it's been 0 shots fired calls. And of course, the domestic disturbance calls for both years, both homes was 1 and 1. So it's about even. And as far as 2025, we had 3 B&E calls, which breaking and enterings. And so far in 2026, it's been 1. So like I said, the biggest thing I know that was one of the most compelling things that we talked about and that has been coming up for the town is about being the shots fired and all the shootings that's going on. So that's one of the most significant things that we can see is in Seaboard is that the shots fired calls have significantly dropped since the coverage has been there. So thank you all for it. I think it's working. Like you said, we definitely, with the things we got in place, we definitely believe it'll continue to work, and we can continue to do things we can to combat the crime and show you stats in the future that it is significantly reducing. As long as we keep this coverage going, it'll make a significant difference for the citizens of the town and overall for the whole county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anyone have any questions?
It's outstanding.
All right,
Safety. Thank you.
What's that now?
Safety. Thank you.
Safety,
Yes,
correct.
sir.
Yep, appreciate you a lot. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Okay, the next item is police coverage for Conway.
Good evening, everyone, again. Just gonna follow up or follow that report. Safety is a big deal, and just sometimes having a presence makes a big difference. It makes a great difference. As you all are aware, we did have that conference back in December. We invited all of the mayors from all of the towns. Everyone showed up to the round table and expressed their concerns, and what resulted from that, or what two of the main things that came out of that is Seaboard and Gaston requested the additional we could to help. So the commissioners for the respective areas and we met with the mayors and the chief of police for those 2 towns at the time, and we looked at their financial statements, and we got commitments from them that, if we help you out, that, after a year, you'll be able to take this thing over, make sure you sustain the program, keep someone on the beat, so to speak, but that's what they call it, on the beat, and have that presence there so that we can continue to see those statistics trend down. At that time, the mayor and police chief for the town of Conway could not be here. The mayor was out of town, so long story short, they did get a hold of myself and Commissioner Keith Edwards, and we met with them, Mayor Dukes and the chief of police, Bill Harrison, and we talked with them, and they expressed the same concerns that you were seeing in Seaboard and in Gaston. And we said we would see what we can do to help, and we would bring it back to the commissioners. They have presented their financial statements. They do have a plan that if we can help them out for a year, that they will be able to sustain it. What they had to do is a couple of years ago, they were put on the unit assist list because of some financial difficulties, but they have since then corrected those difficulties. They believe by fiscal 26, 27, that they will have the funds to get a second person or put a second person back. They did have a second officer there at one point, so they had to do away with that position in order to offset the industry call leakage, when you have costs going out that were unaccounted for, but it creeps up on you. You have to account for those costs. So they've increased their water and sewer prices. They've had an increase in their tax to offset that leakage. And like I said, they believe they'll be in a good shape to sustain this program after a year's help. So they are asking for help for the rest of this fiscal year. The cost of that will be $33,973. And then they're asking for help until the end of December, which is what we're doing for the other towns. And that cost would be $50,960. So I'm requesting approval for the $33,973 and 33 cents to come out of the current fund contingency funds, which has a balance of $195,500 as of today. And also to budget for the $50,960 in fiscal 26, 27. Any questions?
Are we comfortable that all of these people that we're helping out can take things over again?
We
the
told
end
we
of the
would
year?
keep in touch with them and get follow-ups. So at least on a quarterly basis, I'll be reaching out to them and getting reports to see how they're doing. And even after the year is up, I'm gonna keep in contact with them and see how the program is running and how the police coverage is doing and all that good stuff.
This will come out the same fund that came out of Gaston Seaboard.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are we able to, we able to do that?
Yes. And what I'm recommending is, when I say budget-wise, the contingency fund, instead of adding more cost, I'm saying we'll reduce our contingency by the amount that we need next year for the police coverage. And then immediately after that, that following year, we can bump the contingency back to that original balance.
Anyone else have any questions? Got to get a motion for this Conway police coverage? Is that the wishes of the board?
Chair Martin, I make a motion that we approve the Conway police coverage. I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye. Motion is carried. We'll give them coverage like we did the other two
Thank you.
times for 1 year. Next item is the Northern County Leadership Mock Commissioners Meeting.
All right, thank you, Chair Martin, fellow Board of Commissioners, our stakeholders and citizens that are present, as well as our staff. So we had a very productive meeting last week. It included Ms. Judy Collier, Ms. Robin Phillips, and school counselors, Ms. Allen and Ms. Willer, as we began to talk about the mock commissioners meeting. And so we would like to propose the date of April the 29th. And it would start at roughly 9 o'clock in the morning, and then it would wrap up around 11:45 at that time, which the students would transition from this location into the Wellness Center to partake in lunch and networking and fellowship. One of the things that came out of the meeting, which I thought was a great idea that I wanted to share, was that not only did they want to have students to shadow each commissioner from each district, but also during the mock meeting for them to shadow our county manager, our clerk to the board, our finance officer, and also our board attorney. And so that was one of the things that they asked for. They felt that it would be beneficial to the students to be able to shadow those roles as well. And so what they're looking at is about 20 students participating from each school site. So Conway Middle would have 20 students, and then from Gaston STEM Leadership Academy, they would have 20 students. The process that they're proposing is teacher recommendation, making sure that we are selecting scholars that are interested in local government. And so that would be the process. And so after action is taken at this meeting, we would then get information out to the schools so that the school counselors can communicate it to the administrators. Then it would then trickle down to staff and then out to our students and the parents in the community. So again, I want to thank all of our stakeholders who reached out since our presentation at the last meeting. They thought that it was an awesome thing that we're doing in having this event, and so we're excited about it. And we have some community partners that I know that the Chamber of Commerce are working with as far as providing refreshments and lunch for the students. What I'm advocating for on this evening is that we support this event with T-shirts for the students. So as we were talking about attire and that kind of thing, we felt that it would be a great idea for our students to have a T-shirt to pretty much kind of commemorate this event. And also whenever you're traveling with students, and this is just a former educator and teacher in me, it's good to have a way to be able to identify them. And then also for our students to be able to see our county government, not only as elected officials, but also our staff as well. And so I do want to thank all of the department heads that I just mentioned to this in passing. They've been super supportive and excited about it, because there will be a portion of the, before we start the actual mock session, that will allow our department heads to introduce themselves to our students, because we have a lot of great leadership in this county, and I think it would be very beneficial for the students to be able to see that. So getting back to the T-shirts, we wouldn't exceed a budget of $950, but that is something that I'm definitely asking of my fellow commissioners, if we could support this event by purchasing T-shirts for the participants so that they could have that. And that's one less thing that parents and families have to worry about. And also, it's a great way for us to get the word out about this new initiative that we're doing. And it's our hope to continue this with other schools as well, and also other grade levels. I've had an outpouring from the community asking about how we will extend this to some of our high school students. We all know as they prepare to go to college or career path, they want to make sure they have things that they can put on their repertoire that will, set them up for success, and this is a great thing. And so that's what we're proposing on this evening is that we select the date of April the 29th. We would start at roughly 9:00 a.m. and that we don't have any open court on that day. So that's another thing that worked out as well. So that is what I am requesting from our Board of Commissioners on tonight.
Okay, so you need a motion to approve the date, the time, and the allocation for the t-shirts.
Right.
I'd like to thank Dr. Whitaker for the time that she's taken and all her commitment to get this on the way.
Absolutely.
This can be a good thing for our county to show our children the commitment it takes to be a leader in the committee. So I'd make a motion, we accept the offer.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye,
Oppose.
okay. All right, motion is carried. All right, the next item on the agenda is the PETA Animal Welfare, okay?
Okay. Good evening, Chairman Martin, Vice Chair Edwards, Commissioners, County Manager Phillips, County Attorney.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here again tonight. My name is Rachel Bellis. I'm here on behalf of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. When I presented before you last May, we urged you to pass an ordinance banning the continuous chaining of dogs and implementing enforceable duties of ownership, something that so many other localities, including most recently Edgecombe County, has done. And I hope tonight that we can begin meaningful discussions again. I'm going to introduce you to just a few of the dogs in Northampton County who would have benefited from an ordinance and would still benefit from an ordinance because they are still out there and not had to suffer through sub-freezing temperatures, snowstorms, frozen chains, and frozen water buckets with no escape. And so this is Bruno. Bruno is kept chained outside 24/7, along with another dog on the property. The owners frequently run out of food, leaving the dogs to sometimes go several days without a meal. Oh, whoops, I forgot to turn it on. Oh, he told me to do that. Sorry. Oh. Help. Sorry. I thought I turned it on.
Okay, she's having some.
Okay. Next slide. Oh, okay, yeah. This is another photo. There are 3 dogs on this property, and you can see that those are the barrels. That is what they have for shelter. Slide 3. This is Athena. Athena is kept chained along with another dog on the property named Abel. Next slide. When we recently visited Red, he was very thin. You can see in that photo on the left, you can see his ribs and spine. He had frozen water, and someone had left a blanket in his shelter, which had frozen. He was shivering outside in the cold, and we had to beg his owners to bring him indoors during the sub-freezing temperatures. Next slide. This is Ashlan. Ashlan, who is tethered outside. She is forced to endure extreme weather, extreme temperatures. All chained dogs are vulnerable to attacks from predators and other dogs running at large, but small dogs like Ashlan are particularly at risk of being attacked. Next slide. This is Cash, and can I point out the very heavy, thick chain that Cash has to drag around every minute of every day. Next slide. This is Roxy, who is tethered inside of a pen. Next slide. And this is Obama, and can I please point out the very ridiculous chain that he is also forced to drag around every single minute of every single day. Next slide. This is Jack. Jack is also chained outside 24/7. His owner, last time we visited, was just recently with the cold and the snow. His owner admitted that Jack is suffering with arthritis, but still refused to bring him inside. Next slide. This is Shy. Shy is often found underweight, and we have repeatedly talked to her owners about the need for increased food intake, especially during the cold months. Next slide. And this is Scooby. And can I point out again the ridiculous chain that Scooby was attached to until we convinced his owners to let us replace that heavy chain with a lightweight tie-out. There are 4 chain dogs on this property, and the owners consistently call asking for help with dog food. Next slide. And then there is Daisy, and we recently emailed you about Daisy. She was found emaciated and so starved that she'd been eating the dead dog with whom she had shared the small pen in an attempt to survive. And on that left photo with her inside of the doghouse is her deceased, dead pen mate, who we are not sure, he was too decomposed when we found him, but we believe it was starvation and she had been eating him to survive. There were bones and fur inside of her stomach when we took her to the vet, and we are grateful to Sheriff Smith and his detectives for working on this case and charging the people who are responsible for the suffering of these dogs. And next slide. As you know, PETA has offered the county a grant to help cover the cost of an additional enforcement officer if and when an ordinance is passed. We are also committed to assisting with pens for qualifying residents. And of course, we are more than happy to help with flyers, magnets, billboards, all of the things that you see here. And then the next slide. And we have sent some sample language that we think would be helpful. Next slide. And it's just some more of the language. And, you know, this has been such an ongoing thing, an ongoing issue, and we really do hope that we're close to a solution and a commitment from the Board of Commissioners that I know that many of you do, you know, take animal welfare seriously. I know that you are supportive, and I hope that we can move forward in the very near future. Thank you. I'm here to answer any questions.
Anyone have questions?
No questions, but just some comments, and I appreciate that presentation. Animal cruelty is just, it's not something that anyone should have a tolerance for. And unfortunately, in some of our communities, we see that quite often. Probably about Saturday morning around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, there was a beagle and he was barking and howling, and I woke up and I mentioned it to my mom. I'm like, what's going on? Because we don't normally have dogs that sound that loud near our home, and certainly he had broken off a chain. You could see where part of it was hanging. He sounded like that he sounded like he was in pain, and I definitely know that he was hungry because he was looking for something to eat. And then not too long after, I guess the owner must have realized that he had broken it loose and came in and picked him up. But later on Saturday in the day, probably around 1 or 2 o'clock, we could still hear him howling from wherever he is in Rich Square. So when you see things like that, you know, your heart goes out, you know, to those animals, and especially those of us that have had pets that are just like family members to us. And so this is definitely something that I hope that we have a sense of urgency about, because we do get quite a few complaints from citizens of animals that have broken or loose off the chain. The thing of it is, if they are in pens and areas of that such, they're less likely to get away or escape. But when you have them chained up, and some of them are on really heavy chains or chains that are rusted, that is when they have a tendency to break or loose. And so with the beagle, he was harmless or whatever the case is. However, some dogs that I've seen in the community, I can't say that about. You don't know whether they're going to attack you. We're in an area where we have a lot of our seniors. And so I just appreciate you presenting this information, Rachel, because as I've had conversation with Mayor Newcomb and some of the town commissioners in Rich Square, this is something that we feel is very important. And it is my hope that us as a commissioner, Board of Commissioners, take some action sooner than later so that we can, protect these animals. Because, just from what I saw in the presentation, I mean, that says everything. And so I just appreciate your work and thank you for what you
so much,
shared.
Commissioner Whitaker. Thank you. And, when a dog is chained, they get tangled, the chain gets frozen to the ground. There's really no escape. If they get tangled and they can't get into their shelter, then they're going to freeze to death in the winter. They are completely vulnerable to, cruel people, to predators, to other dogs. Female dogs, get impregnated all the time when they're on the chain. And so, it's really an educational thing. Obviously, it's not something that happens from one day to the next. It's gradual, but it is, a lot about education and going out into the community, which is just something that we are obviously committed to. We are not law enforcement, and so we're not allowed to. We can only go on somebody's property if they allow us to, and we can talk to owners and talk about, maybe bringing the dog inside or finding another way to keep the dog. But it's really animal control, and Northampton County doesn't have a strong ordinance with clear definitions. So that's what we would love to see happen. Yes, ma'am. Right. But I don't think that there's anything so when we see a dog like this, what would be enforceable? Well, I mean, if you're saying, why didn't we call animal control? If chaining is allowed, what would animal control be able to do in these situations? But what would you, so when we call animal control, we're risking not being allowed on the property. And so if you go out, Christy, and you tell people, you have to have straw, well, it's not really in your ordinance to have straw, is it? No. And the heavy chains, it's in the cruelty statute that you can't, cruelly chain a dog, but there's really nothing that says what the weight has to be. And so if we call you out and you say, well, you have to do this, well, then that's it. We're not going to be allowed on the property again. And so we have to be very careful about what we report, because otherwise we're risking not being able to help that animal again. And our focus is always going to be on the animal. And so if there was a stronger ordinance on the books with clear definitions that didn't allow chaining, and like I said, Edgecombe County in January passed a chaining ban. They are doing a very long rollout of education and giving people time to get into compliance, but they did pass that. So we're trying to elevate animal welfare and get people out of this habit of keeping dogs chained. Yeah. I don't think that's enforceable. Right. Because there isn't anything really enforceable. We can, that dog, the chain that Scooby was on, it was ridiculous. We changed that out. We talked to the owner about, letting us change that tether out. But you're out there, you see this you're in the community, you see how cool it is.
Yeah.
You know, and how needed these ordinances are, so I'm a little surprised that you're speaking against it.
Well, that's what we've got to look into, what makes sense.
Yes.
And is definable, and we will take a look at this and try to come up
Absolutely.
with something.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know one thing that we've basically looked at, to your point, is again, adding on the dogs, different animal shelter. And so we know our animal shelter is outdated and it doesn't have the significant runs. And then when you look at the comparative analysis to our towns that have adopted the ordinance, that's something, a proactive stance that we've looked at and taken advantage of. And so we're looking at that, just like the town of Gaston, like the town of Rich Square, the town of, the different towns and that have adopted the non-tethering ordinances. And coming together, as they say, works. And so how can we do that and to strengthen our ordinance for the better welfare to help the towns and the county? And a new animal shelter is definitely something that we're definitely looking at. Because to my knowledge, the towns don't have anywhere if a dog is confiscated. That's how we work together.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
We had a dog, our daughter had moved back here, and she had a dog that the animal shelter person came and got. And when I took the gun control class, we went back in the woods. And it was a shelter back there, what happened? There was an animal shelter. That's the one we have now.
Yeah, we have one.
We have one.
We just need
12,
space.
12, 8. It doesn't have but 8, the capacity to hold but 8. Yes, ma'am. It is one, right there by the landfill, absolutely. And so Gaston used to have one, and they had a full-time animal shelter person.
Okay.
Understood, yes. Right. Just to bring it all into perspective. Thank you, Chris.
Good evening, Chairman Martin, commissioners, county officials, staff, members of the public. My name is Victoria Newcomb. I'm the mayor of Rich Square, and I'm here to support the discussion and hopefully countywide ban on tethering for the committee. Ms. Bellis made a very eloquent presentation. I can't say anything that can be more impactful than the photos you just saw, and that the misery that some dogs endure. Now, we did pass an anti-tether law at the end of '24, and we had a long rollout. We're having trouble with enforcement, and as the commissioner mentioned, we don't have the resources, and we're under very strict financial constraints right now to get the resources, certification. As a small town, as I think a lot of the small towns in the county are, or considering an anti-tether law, education and enforcement is the continuing issue. And I think it would really benefit from the comprehensive approach that the county can provide as opposed to individual towns. It would reflect a commitment only to the animals who need our protection, who are suffering under those chains and who are freezing to death. And I'm sorry to say that I have seen a dog who has died in Rich Square. Rich Square does not have a good reputation for caring for its animals. And it's something that we take very seriously. I'm very proud that the board passed it. I'm having trouble enforcing it. And so I do ask you, as a county and as commissioners who act for the county, to help Northampton move forward as being progressive and compassionate and a proactive place to live, that people want to come and live here, and that the smallest of us and the most weak of us are protected. And I sincerely request that you adopt a countywide ban on tethering. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Tax Department.
Good evening. Bring you greetings from the Northampton County Tax Department. Have 4 items to present to you on this evening. Before I start, I wanted to know if the appeals could be action items tonight. Y'all can tell me when I finish. You can think about it, okay, and let me know.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. The first item I present to you this evening is an information paper. It's to inform the Board of Commissioners of private drives or roads that have been named. According to the Northampton County Addressing and Road Naming Ordinance, each private road with 2 or more dwellings or structures must be named. A temporary number has been assigned to the road and replaced with a name. This information will be given to Public Works to allow them to post the necessary road signs. It is crucial that the signs are posted to enable emergency assistance for the parties involved. And that information is included in your pack. The next item I bring before you this evening is the appeals for Avalon tax appeals. 7 appeals in the amount of $11,133.25. I also bring before you motor vehicle refunds in the amount, there are 10 of those appeals in the amount of $1,235.71. The last thing I present to you on this evening is a late application for property tax relief. I'm trying to obtain the board's approval of the late application for property tax relief for the listed taxpayer, provided that upon showing of good cause by the taxpayer for failure to make a timely application, an application for exemption of exclusion filed under the close of listing period may be approved by the Board of Commissioners. That concludes my presentations before you this evening.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Mason?
No.
Okay. If not, could we get a motion to approve the appeals she presented?
Chair Martin, I make a motion that we approve the appeals as presented by Ms. Mason.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Not, signify by saying aye.
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 I, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye, okay. Motion carried, appeals are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is county manager and board comments.
Good evening again. Just to give a quick update where we are in the budget process. We met with the health department on today. We have a budget committee, which consists of myself, the finance director and the assistant finance director. So we met with the health department today to go over their proposed budget. And basically the health department and DSS is usually the last departments that we cover because they have to get information from state as far as what programs will be approved and the amounts and so on and so forth. So we got that portion in today. That's going to be compiled in our summary report. And now we're waiting on DSS. I need to talk with the DSS director to see if we can get her numbers in this week. And once we get that done, it's a process. The first date that we will meet, which is the budget message, will be on April 2nd at 6 p.m. And what I'll do is there was a budget calendar that was issued, I believe it was either the end of January, the last meeting in January, or the first meeting in February. It's on my desk, so before I leave tonight, I will scan it and send it to you all so you can keep a copy of it. But it basically lists out every step that we will take as we go through the process. There are specific dates that we have identified for first the budget message, and then after the budget message, we have identified at least 3 workshops, which we will go over the actual budget and what's included and all that good stuff. And then there's alternative dates if those dates are not good, that we with you all, if we don't have like a quorum on a particular date. Or if we just want to add, we need to add because there's something that we really need to add. some more dates. But again, once we get through with DSS, I'll continue to work with finance officer and her assistant as we crunch the numbers and get it all in these spreadsheets. Again, we're doing this manual this year. Next year will be a totally different process. It will be automated with ClearGov, but this year is still manual. So that's basically the process. It's working the numbers up. We don't have a presentation to do, but we will have it. That's the target date, April 2nd. We'll be ready for April 2nd presentation. But between now and then, we will be meeting. If I need to have a meeting with you all to discuss certain things, like I do have certain things I want to discuss, we will be meeting to go over those items to make sure that you all understand, and I get approval if I need to get approval from you all to do certain things before I put it in the budget and say, here's a number and you don't know what's in there. So before we bake the cake, you're gonna know all the ingredients, put it that way.
All right. All right, thanks. Commissioner Broadnax Taylor?
I'd like to thank all the citizens for coming out tonight and have a safe travel home.
Can I say one? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I would be remiss if I didn't say for all those folks that have someone in armed forces, got my prayers. I have family that's in there. I have a son, and I have my grandson that's military. So I come from military family. So I believe in what they do, and I thank anyone who's involved in the military for your service to this country, and God bless America.
Thank you. All right. Commissioner Wood?
I'd like to start off by saying good evening to everyone. And the first thing I would like to share is that on Friday, March 6th, Miss Janie Harvey Grant will turn 106 years old. She is the oldest citizen, not only in Northampton County, but also within District 27. And so that is something for us to celebrate. That is something for us to cherish. And so I had the opportunity to speak with her daughter, as well as her other family members. And so I appreciate us as a commissioner board looking into, as we've done in past practices, some type of proclamation or resolution that we would do for Miss Janie Harvey Grant. And I just want to take the opportunity to share that publicly, because that is something to truly to celebrate, to live to see 106 years old and still look the way that she does. It's just nothing short of a miracle. I've known her since I've been a baby practically, and was well known as making some of the best Brunswick stew on this side of the county. So you know, and I'm talking about just those traditions that sometimes get lost as we go through generations. But you know, when you talk about what we used to call like the wash pot and the pedal, seeing that as a young child, and those traditions that we have in my family as well. So I consider it an honor and a privilege to be able to celebrate her. I've contacted some friends, Mr. and Mrs. Ennis Williams. They're going to join me on this Friday. We're going to render some songs for her and celebrate her as we should. And so I definitely want to make sure that I take a moment to highlight Miss Janie Harvey Grant. We can give her a hand, guys. That's something to definitely celebrate. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that I shared as well, definitely wanted to give honor and acknowledgement definitely to all of our armed forces, anybody that has spouse, children, siblings, definitely keeping them lifted in our thoughts during this time. And also wanted to make sure that I also give a shout out to the staff that came out during our retreat. I know Saturdays can be a lot sometimes, but I appreciate the staff that came out and participated as we had a chance to really go through some much needed information. And so I hope everyone have a wonderful and safe evening. And also my heart is full on tonight because this is the first time in history. I know that Commissioner Ward had to lead that. We've had the whole town commissioner board and the mayor attend a county commissioners meeting. So thank you all so much. That's the first time in history, so it's a testament to your leadership.
Wow.
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate that, and we will continue to echo those sentiments in regards to making sure that we're treating our animals with dignity and respect, and also looking at what we can do to keep that work going around making the language more clearer and then establishing some type of ordinance. So, and I want to thank Mayor Newcomb and Mayor James. Those are two mayors that I know that I've spoken to in regards to this, and it's something that's very important. So again, I hope everyone have a wonderful and safe evening.
Commissioner Keith Edwards?
Yes, I'd like to also thank the military, anybody that has had a family member. My son got hurt in military, so I do respect them. It's a great honor to know the people who have served, and maybe we don't know all of them, and it would be nice to know, and thank you. All I can say is thank you for your service. I'd also like to thank the board for their consideration of all these programs, especially young people that we need in our county to carry the legacy of Northampton. So thank you to the board for considering those programs. And not only those, to the elderly, we have good programs. Thank you to our staff for supporting Northampton, and be safe on the way home. Thanks.
Mr. Vice Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a salute to all the veterans in this county and to all the military personnel, as we know what's happened in this country and across the way now. So thank you, and thank you for coming out. Thank you.
Like, thank everybody for coming out, and again, I thank the people from Gaston community for inviting me to the program a week before last, I guess it was. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was a very good program for the Rosenwald School.
Yes.
I was very, very pleased with that presentation. And
Very good presentation.
also, for the veterans, we do need to keep them in our prayers. One of my good friends growing up, son, is deployed right now. He texted me that Saturday that all he's allowed to say is he's deployed. He doesn't know where exactly himself, but so that family's in my prayers, and all the families who were involved and deployed are in my prayers. I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight, and have a safe travel home. And now, could I get a motion to go into closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I move we go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A personnel, 11A6 personnel, and North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A4 to discuss matters relating to the location or expansion of industries or business.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion is carried. We'll now go into closed session.